Hello everyone, I'm Neetsel and this is Tintin Prisoners of the Sun. So last year I did Tintin in Tibet, and so this year I'm going to do the follow-up. So this is still made by Infogrames, which is a French company that has a reputation for turning really popular French and Belgian comic books into really good looking games, but are really awful to play. This game is really a Cuso Classics in France. It's not as popular as Tintin in Tibet. This game was released super late in the life cycle of the Super Nintendo. This was in 1997. It's a PAL-only game. I'm going to do the run on the difficulty because it makes things a little bit more interesting. What it changes is the amount of obstacles that are going to be in the way, and also the amount of time that I have to complete levels. So yeah, and I also did a run of Tintin in Tibet at GDQ this year. So whew, come on, let's go for it. This game is a little bit nerve-wracking because mistakes can be really punitive. But let's get started in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so first stage, we're in a museum. As you'll see, everything is a threat to us. The game is reusing the plane mechanic that you could already see in Tintin in Tibet. We are avoiding this little girl's toy because that can damage us, obviously. And we're going to reach a first section that is a bit tricky. Completely in the dark. I have to jump at really specific points to avoid taking too much damage. The first damage boost is normal. The second one, so we want to avoid as much as possible to... I messed up a little bit, that's alright, we'll just waste a little bit of time in the next screen. Usually you want to avoid... you want to avoid taking damage right there, and I messed up already. Okay, let's do this again. So yeah, this game, in terms of difficulty, it's really high. The first time, I mean, this game doesn't have anything really wrong with it apart from the difficulty. The main thing is really that Tintin, the way he moves around, he slides quite a lot. Actually, I have 2 damage boosts for him. Getting a little bit nervous for some reason, but we should be fine. So we'll try this again. Not messing it up this time, that would be nice. No. Again, taking the damage. That section is really tricky. But yeah, I'm not going to mess up this time, so we're just going to damage boost through this first guy, and then afterwards we'll have to be careful. Okay, so moving to the backside to avoid this one. As you'll notice, the stage is really a maze, and that's the way that a lot of these levels are built, is that you have that timer on the top right, which makes things super tight in terms of amount of mistakes that you are allowed to do. Alright, so we're through. That's alright. We need to avoid these last 2 guys, and that will be the end of the level. And something that you'll notice as well that is super annoying is that you don't regain health in between levels. Alright, so we're going to run right away, duck to avoid this fireball, get to this position to avoid it again. That fireball is RNG, so hopefully we get a good pattern. This one is not too bad. We need to hope not to get hit by some of those things that can fall at you. Some of them are RNG, others are just based on your position. Okay, not the best pattern. We're going to have to duck to avoid it. Took some damage, but that's not too bad. Okay, avoiding those. Going to duck just in case, and we're through this level. Phew. So yeah, compared to Tintin, also here I'm ducking to reduce lag for some reason that reduces lag. So yeah, compared to Tintin in Tibet, this game doesn't have as much RNG, which is pretty nice. But yeah, doing mistakes is usually a lot more punitive, especially in the later stages. New mechanic compared to Tintin in Tibet is that you can climb on some stuff. Again, the collisions are not the best. I'm going to play it safe because since I already lost a life, I want to not lose too many lives. Right here we have this section where you're supposed to take control of Haddock and move him along Tintin. I'm not sure how this works exactly. It doesn't make any sense. The idea is that Haddock is supposed to cover Tintin's progression, but that's mostly useless. So what we do is that we just waste all of our bullets, and then we are able to just run. Okay, here I'm mostly using the audio to know when I'm supposed to jump. Okay, and the last one is a bit tricky because the delay between the audio and the shot is actually a little bit different. Alright, we're through this section. We have our first auto-scroller of the game. There's quite a few of them. Fun fact, between the current world record and the previous one, we realized that you can actually speed up in this level. And that's the main difference between the two runs. That's something that was in the manual, so a good example that even though you speedrun a game, you should read the manual. Right, so the pattern are always the same. I have everything written down because the main issue is that they are really annoying to memorize because well, it's not based on the color of the vehicle where you're supposed to go. So from time to time you'll see like a red car going to the right, and sometimes it will go to the left. So it's really annoying to react to it as well because the position is really hard to tell. Alright, so we managed to not take any damage, which is great because I'm going to need as much health as possible for this stage. So yeah, one improvement of this game compared to Tintin in Tibet is that now he has 3 planes. I mean, 2 planes wasn't enough, so they decided to add another one. I grabbed the life right behind that crate. Nice thing about lives is that they give you all of your health back, so we can do a little bit more damage boost once you collect that. Alright, so here we have a little bit of a puzzle. This crane is broken, so I need to get a tool to make it work again and be able to get through the next section. So this part is RNG. Unfortunately, that's not the best one, but that's alright. We should be fine in terms of the timer. And coming up next, we're going to have an auto-scroller section right at the end of the stage. The funny thing about it is that so if Tintin gets out of the screen, he will die. But there's a way to actually stop the screen from moving, and I'll show it just because I find that so stupid. Alright, so I'm going to try to do this jump properly, so that's really precise. That's like the fast strat to do this. That's pretty good. Alright, and in this section right here, so this guy, if I want to get across him, I have to wait for him to come back this way, and the only way to stop the screen from scrolling is just to move from one plane to another, just like that. It's really dumb, but that's the way this game works. Alright. Next stage, so this one has some kind of a stealth mechanic to it. What's really confusing is that so some of these enemies, if they touch you, you will die instantly, and others they will just deal damage to you. So the ones in red just deal damage to you, and the ones in blue will just make you lose a life completely. It doesn't make sense. It's like when you look at the characters, there's nothing that would make you go, oh yeah, this guy obviously is going to just kill me. Right, quick section in the dark. We are just going to push this crate, jump over this guy. So yeah, coming up we're going to grab a bottle. All of that stuff is really not obvious to understand. It's like you can see me activating switch at different places, but there's no feedback at what these switches do. What usually happens is that they activate something all the way, completely the other way around in the stage. I'm going to grab this health just for the next stage. So we are throwing the bottle to force this guy to move around. Then we are activating the switch and we'll get to the final section of this stage. So the way the health works in between levels is that if you have less than 2 health points, the gate will give you a little bit of health back. If you have more than 2 health points, it won't give you anything back. So for the speedrun, it's really important not to take too much damage, because well, in some places we want our health to be able to do damage boost. Alright, so this is another auto-scroller. This one is really straightforward. All I have to do is I'm just staying on the right side, and when I see a flash on the left side, I'll just move a little bit. The next stage is probably among the worst in this game. Just the setting is a little bit silly, as you'll see. So yeah, Tintin in Tibet, it was ported to almost every platform of that era. It was on the Genesis and the Game Boy and the Game Gear. This game, Prisoners of the Sun, was only released on the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy. The Game Boy version is actually pretty good. I would recommend playing that one over this one. Well, I really enjoy this game. It's really brutal when you don't know what you're supposed to do, and it can get really frustrating, especially since you don't get password for every level. You have to wait a few levels to get one. Alright, we're through with this stage, and then we are entering one of the most annoying stage in the game. It's another auto-scroller, but this one is a lot harder. So we have this luggage going left and right on this train, because Tintin can't just attach it. And we're going to have clocks appearing on both sides of the train. And we need to collect those clocks to make sure that we don't time out. Most of the clocks, if I miss one, I'll just time out instantly. There's like just one clock that I can actually avoid. But yeah, usually we will still want to catch as many clocks as possible. Something that can happen as well is that I can actually jump out of the wagon, so it's really dangerous to jump over the luggage. And the window to get the clock is really tight again. Okay, so we are doing pretty well. In the next section I'm just going to do a few damage boosts. That will make me lose time in the next level, but I mean, at this point I don't want to take too much risk with the run, because later on it gets really mean. So jumping over this luggage, and then I'm just going to do one last damage boost to grab this one. Alright, and we're through with this stage. I'm just glad I got through this. I hate this one so much. Alright, so this stage, this one, again, the path that I'm taking is the path that you're supposed to take. So it's another maze, and obviously what you have to do is go to the left side. You have different entrance and exits, and the solution is to go all the way to the left constantly. Alright, I need to avoid these guys. Usually I would damage boost through them, but since I went for the easiest strat in the previous level, I can't do that. And coming up we have a really awful jump. If I mess it up, I'll just time out because there's no way to recover from that. This is the actual path that you're supposed to take. Okay, so this is the jump coming up. And we made it, so that's great. Alright, now we have some kind of a boss. Oops. So I need to avoid these attacks, and the thing that's a bit confusing is that you have to press the avoid button before he attacks. Like, you really have to press it super early for this to work. One last time, and that should be it. It's going to run away, and we're done with this stage. Okay, now this is the stage where my runs come to die. This is another level with some kind of stealth mechanic. It's like enemies, if they touch you, you will just die instantly. The way it works is that if you get within a specific range of the enemy, they will turn around and follow you. The thing is that range is actually bigger than what you can see on screen, so you have to get to some of those positions while the enemies are off screen. It's kind of... I'm struggling to explain it, but the idea is that you have to know exactly where the enemies are. Ooh, that was close, but we're through. And that's it for this stage, so that's pretty nice. Okay, and now a little bit of a break. So we start this stage and we're going to take a death right away, because this level has RNG, and doing this gets us a specific RNG that allows me to just do almost the whole level without doing any inputs. Because you don't really control the bird, what happens is that you can tell it to go left or right, but when you do that, it will gain a little bit of height, and as well there's a cooldown in between the moments where it can turn around, and so it's really hard to react to things in this stage. And so it turns out this is the best solution, so I'm going to press left to force him to go a little bit up. And then I have to wait before jumping down, because otherwise the game considers that I'm dead. Here we go! And now the longest auto-scroller in the whole game. So here it's pretty important that I don't take any damage, because otherwise it will make the next level a little bit hard. What I really don't like about this stage is that you usually have to jump the moment the rocks appear on screen, because it's not once the rock reaches you that you take damage. Visually it's a little bit earlier, so it's a bit confusing the first time that you play this stage. Fun fact as well about this level is that it has a glitch that can activate from time to time. That will prevent me from going to the left and right side of the screen, so you can't avoid. There are some obstacles in that case that you can't avoid at all. Right, so need to avoid that snowball. So yeah, Tintin back in the 90s was really popular in Europe. So we got quite a lot of video games back then based on this IP. There was also a musical actually based on Prisoner of the Sun. That was in Flemish and French. I saw it when I was younger. It was pretty nice. I think it might have been the first musical that I ever saw. You can see bits of it online if you start looking for it. Alright, and now our favorite part of every video game. This is an escort mission, so I'm supposed to escort Zorino all the way to the end of the level. So you need to clear these obstacles. Why does this help him? I have no idea. It doesn't make sense that now it's easier for him to come down. Fun thing is that most of these obstacles, they each have a specific behavior. Like this one, I need to get to the top right here. Also, thankfully, I didn't clip through the branch when I fell, because that happened once. This is a stage where I had a lot of issues in the past. Right, so we need to push this animal so that it clears the way. I mean, this level is a good example of why I like this game, because it throws so many ideas at it. I mean, it's really hard to understand what you're supposed to do when you're playing casually, but at least they tried, and it follows the book really, really well. Yeah, the previous stage really reminds me as well of Mickey Mania and the Lion King as well. The thing is that this version of the stage was so long. I think they went a bit too far on that one. So being careful not to jump on the right side of that branch, because otherwise you fall in between the rocks and die. So we need this animal to hit the tree 3 times so that it breaks this branch. And then we need to bring it all the way to the left. So also something funny if you play this game. So right there, I'm putting the branch down by pressing down. But for this final one, I need to throw it. Otherwise, the branch just clips through the tree. And when you discover that, you feel really, really sad. It's possible to do it by pressing down, but like the position is like it's almost pixel perfect. All right, so here we have another boss. So I need to pick up this rock and try to get into a nice rhythm so that that's not the right position, but we need to go from left to right just like this. Okay, okay, a little bit of damage, but that's fine. I want to end this level with 3 health, but I can recover a little bit of health. Going to go for the safer strat. So yeah, for some reason as well, the screen goes dark in this level. I can use this branch to hit the snake. I have no idea how the collision works. I can't make it to work properly. It just feels too random. Alright, this is by far the easiest stage in every Tintin game that I've played. So I can use my paddle to hit stuff that is in the water, and that will be useful to reduce lag a little bit and clear some parts of the river. The music in this game, just like for the previous one, is really, really good as well. Alright, so the next stage is going to be really painful. It's one of these stages where if you miss the final jump, you just time out, which is super annoying. Also, thankfully I have all of my health, so that should allow us to do a few damage boosts, which should give us enough time. But I probably just jinxed myself already. I'm kinda lost right now because there's a specific... So you can activate the ending of the stage a little bit earlier by moving to the right side of the screen right at the end. But I'm not sure how far I am in this stage. I think we're almost there. We're supposed to have 2 crocodiles in a row coming at us. So that's one. I think, yeah, that's the second one. So we're going to activate the end right there. Here we go. All right. The waterfall. I hate this stage. This is the reason why the estimate is 34 minutes. Because this is the final stretch of the game. And yeah, there are a lot of places where you can just time out by missing a jump. Okay, this is not too bad, but it means that I will definitely not have time to recover. Ooh, no, 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 no. Okay, this is terrible. Ah, come on. Yeah, I think I'm going to time out already. Plus, activating the traps is super annoying. Yeah, I'm just going to time out. Yeah, activating the traps is super annoying because you can't just walk towards them. You have to jump and turn around while jumping because the way Tintin turns around is super slow. And if you try to do that on the ground, you'll just get hit. All right, so let's do this again, but this time properly. Come on. There are a few clocks on the sides, but they give you so little time that it's not worth it going after them. All right, so that's not bad. I'm going to collect all of these clocks to complete the rest of the stage. So we need to grab this rope right here, because that's obviously something that you can pick up. And then we're going to reach that final part of the stage where, with that super tricky jump that if I mess up, I'm just going to time out, because... So I'm going to focus a little bit. Yeah, we're through. That's nice. So this part, this is an animation. I can't play, I can't speed it up, I can't skip it. But if you look at the top right, the timer keeps running. So if I mess up that jump, usually I would time out right there. Alright, so we're starting off with this awful jump. So we made it through, that's nice. So if you remember the cave stage in Tintin in Tibet, this one is a little bit worse in my opinion, because the path that you're supposed to take is super confusing. There are actually 2 possible paths, but they're both really confusing. So you have to fall right here, get over here, jump up. Right before on the right you could see a pickup item, but yeah, that one would just make you fall back to the beginning of the stage. Alright, so this jump I hate it, but we managed to get through it. This is that was another jump that if I mess up I go back to the beginning of the stage. The designer who did this, who did all of the layout of all of these levels. It was his first video game that he worked on, and he thought it was a really good idea to have jumps like that don't kill you, but that will just make you waste enough time to not complete the level. Alright, so here I have to put this newspaper back together. This was originally the final stage of the game, but the devs, Infogrames, didn't think that they could end the game on a puzzle. So afterwards we have another level, but it doesn't make much sense compared to the story of Prisoners of the Sun. So it's always the same pattern, and I'm getting a little bit confused. Here we go. It's always the same pattern, it just changes based on the difficulty that you're playing. Alright, final stage, final auto-scroller. So doesn't make much sense, this level, based on the book story, because right now I'm running towards my execution. the collisions here are also a little bit weird. You have multiple paths, but the other ones are a lot more confusing because what is the ground and what is not the ground is not clear. Fun fact as well about this level is that I need to be careful not to be too far to the right side on the right side of the screen, because right at the end the game takes control and Tintin speeds up and he can run off screen and you can die. So that's not great. So time will be once we complete this this cutscene. Well, almost through. The run went pretty well. I mean, I had a little bit of an issue with the waterfall, but yeah, that's kind of expected. And that death in first level, wow, that was a bit unfortunate. But overall, the run went really well. So I'm quite glad the way it went. Hope you enjoyed the game. Feel free to try it out. Usually Infogrames games always have a reputation for being bad, but it's mostly due to the difficulty and understanding what you're supposed to do. Big shout out to the Cuso community. It's really the Cuso Conde community. It's really through them that I started doing speedruns and especially running bad games. And this one is a classic in the community. When we give this to people who never played it, it's always a fun time to watch people playing this. So yeah, enjoy the rest of the marathon and see you soon. Bye.